Hello again. Welcome back to Hangar 51. Today I'm going to do part 2 of the Sky Trainer that I got from Banana Hobbies from a Black Friday special. I'm going to talk a little bit about Black Friday and Banana Hobbies just for a second. Listen, I've read all the bad press about Banana Hobbies on RC groups and the forums and stuff, and I was skeptical about trying them, but then I read on someone posted that they had a pretty good experience from them, that things were getting better. So since they had such a great deal on Black Friday on this plane and a bunch of planes, and they were the only ones that did, I'll be honest with you, they had great deals for Black Friday that nobody else had. I decided to give them a try, and I got to tell you, I'm pretty happy with Banana. I will definitely buy from them again. No doubt about it. Now, that's not to say I haven't had some issues. I've had a few issues, but they're doing their best to resolve them. They're not ignoring me. They're not, telling me tough shit. They're being good. They're being great. And they've been... Listen, I bought 4 airplanes from 4 different distributors, from 4 different vendors. And Banana has been the best of the 4. So... I gotta say, so here's the issues I had. If you saw my unboxing, I was going over the fuselage, and there was no receiver in the plane. So I thought I didn't get a receiver. It wasn't in the box, wasn't in the plane. So I sent them a message. Now they want you to text message them. They don't want you to call them. I think I could email them or text message them, but I think they would prefer to text message if I remember right. So I sent them a text message. I got a response the same day. It was several hours later, but I still got a response the same day. And they said, "Oh, we're sorry that, did you look in the battery bay of the transmitter? Sometimes they stick it in there." I'm thinking, okay, well, I've got a plane with no receiver in it. Why in the world would I be putting batteries in the transmitter for a plane with no receiver? I can't fly it, so why would I think to look in there for the receiver? So yeah, sure enough, there it is. There's the receiver. In a bind plug in the battery bay of the transmitter. Okay, that was interesting. So I thought, okay, we're good. Everything's great. Until I turn the receiver over, and there's used servo tape all over the back of the receiver. So, obviously this receiver's been used. Now, we're real happy about that. I don't know what the situation is. I don't know if the radio comes... listen, you can't blame the distributor every time for everything. It may have come in the box. The box was sealed to them, and then they just ship it out. And it may have come from the distributor with a used receiver. I don't know. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I don't know for sure what the problem is, but now this is, this was sold as under the name of I think it was a Blitz RC Works plane from Banana, but it came with an Arctech radio. But that's one of their signature radios, because the receiver is on their receiver page that they sell with a lot of their different radios. So I contact them and I say, listen, yeah, I've got the receiver, but the receiver's used. It's got servo tape all over the back of it. So she says, she messaged me back that says, oh, well, I'm very sorry. We'll be happy to take care of that for you. She said, I'm sure the receiver wasn't used, but if you're not comfortable with it, we'll be happy to replace it. And I said, well, I've been doing this for a long time, and there's no reason to put servo tape on the back of a receiver unless you've installed it in something. So yeah, I would like it replaced. Okay, no problem. We're going to send you a whole new radio. Well, I really don't need a whole new radio. I just need a receiver, but that's what they want. They want to send me a whole new radio, and then they want me to send this one back. Okay, fine. So I wait a week. Haven't heard anything. Didn't get a tracking number. So I texted her again and just said, hey, can I get a tracking number for my radio, my replacement radio, because I haven't gotten it yet. Oh, we're so sorry. We meant to ship that out. We'll get it right. We'll get it right out to you. And then, like an hour later, I got a tracking number. So they forgot me, but they fixed it. Okay, so I've got a tracking number now. The radio's coming, and it gets here, and it was just before Christmas actually, and and they actually delivered it on Sunday. The post office delivered it on Sunday, which I was really shocked. So I opened the box, and this is the radio they sent me. So just to go over this is a 6-channel trainer switch, dual rate switches, 6-channel with, channel 5 is on a switch, channel 6 is a potentiometer, and then there's another potentiometer for a trim, and mechanical. It's got mechanical, not digital, trims, reversing on the front. It's got the standard whip antenna thing. So this is the 6-channel radio they sent me. And I was happy with this. This was fine. I wasn't expecting, Fataba, but it's fine. I'm sure it's going to work fine. 2.4 gigahertz radio, 6 channels, got trainer switch, dual rates. It's nice. So what do they send me? They send me a 5-channel with nothing. No trainer switch, no dual rates, no potentiometer. It's only 5 channels. The description on the webpage clearly says it comes with a 6-channel radio. Now, I don't know whoever sent this, if they didn't read their own page. I don't know. I don't know what the situation is. We're still resolving this. But, yeah, I wasn't real happy with the 5-channel no-bones radio they sent me. Okay, this is, not what I ordered. Not what I bought. Not what the webpage says it comes with. I'm supposed to get a 6-channel radio. So the 5-channel radio doesn't, even though it's a brand new radio, with an unused receiver, it's not what I ordered. It's not what I bought. So, but again, I'm still negotiating with Banana. I'm not upset with Banana yet. When they tell me that they're not going to do anything for me, then I'll get upset with them. Right now, they're working with me, so they still have my business for now, and I'll report back if that does change. But I don't think it's gonna. They've been very nice to me as far as this goes. So I think Banana's making a turn for the good. And if you haven't bought from Banana before, or you won't buy from them because of the bad press, or you've had a bad experience with them, I think maybe you should give them a try again. Maybe I think they're definitely stepping the game up, definitely. Because what I've experienced and what I've read are completely different experiences. So, but anyway, okay, enough about Banana. Let's get back to the plane. First off, I want to tell you that this is the exact same plane that FMS sells. This plane is actually made by HSD Hobby. If you go to hsdhobby.com, they're a manufacturer, and they make this plane, and they make it for FMS, they make it for Artec, they make it for RC Blitz, Blitz Works, they make it for Aerosky, they make it for, there's a lot of names this plane is sold under. Listen, this plane is sold under a lot of names, and I've done a lot of research on this plane, so I know what I'm talking about. It's the same airplane. The differences I can tell you for sure: when you buy it under the FMS name, you get a few perks. Okay, and I'm going to explain what those are, what the differences are. Okay, if you buy this, and it's the exact same airplane, but when it comes FMS, instead of getting 2 N numbers on the top of the wing, you get an N number and a big FMS logo. Instead of the tail having HSD on it, which is the manufacturer, it has FMS on it. It comes with a red beacon instead of a white beacon. If you get the FMS, you get a red beacon. You buy it from anybody else, it's a white beacon. Um, if you buy the FMS, you get a chrome spinner. And that I preferred. I didn't want the chrome spinner, so that was okay anyway. You get it from anywhere else, you get a white spinner. If you buy the FMS, you get a painted dashboard. It's painted black, and it has the decal on the dashboard. There's a decal on the decal sheet. If you go look up the FMS decal sheet for this, there's a dashboard decal that has instruments on it. You don't get that with this, but if you buy the FMS one, you do. You know, you get the decal on the dash. They paint the dash black, and you get a decal on it. Now, I painted my dash black, and I'll get to that in a second, but that's one of the other differences. If you buy the FMS, you get a pilot. You don't get a pilot. And the last thing that I've noticed the difference is the FMS has darker tinted windows than this. These are tinted, but they're not tinted very dark. And the FMS windows are tinted darker. So those are the differences. It's the exact same airplane. If those differences are important enough to you to spend a lot more money for it, then by all means buy the FMS and get the red beacon and the pilot and the chrome spinner. If you just want the airplane and you can live with a white beacon and a white spinner and no pilot, then, and you want to save a lot of money, listen, the FMS plane's $179 plug and play. Okay, I got this from Banana, $170, free shipping, ready to fly. And when I say ready to fly, it came with everything: transmitter, receiver, battery, 2200 3-cell battery, AC/DC battery charger. Okay, literally, I could take it out of the box, everything I got in the box, and go to the field and fly it. Everything was in the box for $170 versus $179.95 or $179.99, whatever it is, for a plug and play. You don't get anything. You get a plane with a pilot in it. You don't get a radio. You don't get a battery. You got to buy all that stuff. So, but that was a Black Friday deal. But it's still, I think Banana sells this plane normally for like $239, ready to fly. So it's still a pretty good deal. I got a great deal. You know, Black Friday deal was a great deal, so that's why I bought it. A buddy of mine has a Cessna like this, a real one, and I just thought it'd be cool to have a model that I could fly. And the quality of this is absolutely beautiful. This is a great airplane, guys. This is and that's why FMS sells it under their name, because it's a great quality airplane. It's beautiful, and the quality of the foam is perfect. It comes out of the mold. There's no injection. Nowhere on here is there an injection mark from the molds. The decals are flawless. They're straight. There's no bubbles in them. They did a magnificent job putting this thing together. I have absolutely no complaints about the quality of this airplane. It's been wonderful. I've been flying it for a month, and I love it. And it flies great. It's, okay, it might be a trainer, guys. Trust me, this is a great flying airplane, and it does everything you want it to do. You want loops, rolls, hammerhead, turns. Hell, it even flies inverted. I didn't think it would. It flies great inverted. It flies a lot better than some of my other planes. I've got a P-51 Mustang that don't fly inverted with a crap. This thing flies great inverted. So it's a good flying airplane. It's got plenty of power. It's whisper quiet. I mean, and you guys, listen, you definitely need to balance your props. I don't know if you guys are balancing your props. Don't ever take a plane out of the box and go fly it without balancing the prop. I spend a lot of time on my props. I sand the edges off of it. If it's got sharp edges, I take the sharpness off of them and make sure everything's smooth, and I make sure they're balanced. And this thing is whisper quiet when it flies. I mean, you can't even hear it. It just right through the air. Just beautiful. It's not great in high winds. It does fine in no wind and light wind. It's no problem to fly in a nice, a slight breeze or no wind. It's fine. Heavy winds, it gets thrown around a lot. It's a high wing airplane. So that's just the nature of the beast. It's very, very light. I don't think the thing weighs 3 pounds. I didn't weigh it, but it's very light. And light airplanes, the wind really tosses them around. So on a pretty windy day, I still fly it on a windy day. You can do it, but it's you know, it's getting thrown around a lot. You know, it's kind of a battle. Um, but great airplane, guys. I absolutely, you know, if you were thinking about this, listen, I didn't buy it because I needed a trainer. I bought it because it's a Cessna. You know, it's not a bare bones high wing, you know, generic airplane. This is a Cessna 182. Everybody knows this is a Cessna 182. It used to say Cessna 182 on it. Apparently, my guess is that Cessna said, "Hey, you can't use our name unless you pay us." So they took the Cessna off of it. It still says, well, it doesn't say 182 on it. It used to say Sky Trainer 182, and now it doesn't even say 182. But this is a Cessna 182. I mean, it's without a doubt, everybody knows what this is, and it's beautiful. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed or not. In my first video, I talked about clearing it. I did clear it. I hope you can see in the video how shiny the decals are now. You know, the one on the cowl and the stripes on the wing now are shiny because I clear coated the whole plane. You know, I talk about this a lot. Listen, I'm not trying to be a representative for DuPont or anything. Is it DuPont or it's who is the manufacturer of that paint? I forget. Anyway, I'm not a salesman for them. I'm just telling you guys this because this foam is porous. You know, it's going to get dirty. You know, you're going to handle this. You're going to have dirt on your hands. The dirt's going to get in the foam. You're not going to be able to get the dirt out of the foam. And then the plane's going to start looking really, you know, crappy. So I clear coat all my planes because it's foam and I don't want the dirt in the foam. And once you've clear coated it, you've sealed the foam. Now you can wipe it off with Windex, and it, you know, if anything happens, you just wipe it off and it's not getting into the foam. So you know, I can't stress it enough, guys, how great it is to clear coat it with this perfect match Duplicolor. That's what it is. It's Duplicolor, perfect match, protective clear coat. There's no rattle ball in the can. Make sure that you're buying the clear coat that doesn't have a rattle ball in the can, because the other ones will eat the foam. This stuff doesn't eat the foam. It doesn't disrupt the decals. It doesn't. It's been absolutely compatible with everything, everybody's paint, even my own paint, the stuff I buy from Lowe's and Home Depot, and it doesn't react to anything. It goes over the foam beautifully, and it leaves it shiny and sealed. And I love it. So again, I'm just, you know, just trying to tell you guys from experience, been doing this a long time, that, you know, foam airplanes don't like to be handled. You know, any kind of dirt on your hands is going to get in the foam, and then it's going to have big brown spots every place you carry. If you carry the plane from this part of the wing, every time you carry it in and out of the house, you're going to have a big brown spot eventually on the wing right here, and it's going to look terrible. So just clear coat it. But as far as the plane goes, beautiful airplane. Beautiful, 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 beautiful airplane. I think the only problem I had with the plane, I had a couple small issues, not a big deal. You know, fixing issues is part of the hobby. You know, you just have to decide what you can tolerate and what is beyond, okay, I want it replaced, this is not acceptable. The windshield was not glued in very well, and neither was the back window. So I'm flying it, and one day I pick up the plane, and I just barely touched the back window, and it popped into the fuselage. It was still attached at the top of the wing area, but the bottom and the whole sides was loose, so it fell down inside the fuselage. It didn't fall out, it was still attached, but it fell down in, and it was laying down on the back package tray area. Not a big deal. So it's laying in there. I still flew the plane, came home, and I fixed it. And I'll tell you how I fixed it in a second. Same thing, the windshield wasn't glued on very well at all. It was attached a little bit right here, and I think a little bit here. The sides were not attached at all. They were tight against the foam, but you could lift them up. They were floppy. And they didn't flop in the wind, but I felt them that they weren't attached. And, you know, like I said, I've been flying it for over a month, and in one landing, the window popped off. The windshield popped out. Right there on the ground. It didn't fly off in the air, and I had to go find it. It popped off on the ground. So I figured since I had the windshield out, I'd go ahead and paint my dash black, so that if I decide to buy the decal sheet, it's only like $6, I can get the instrument panel and put it in there. Because I bought a Pilot to put in here, so I'm probably going to do that. So anyway, so I did my little feather fill sand on the dash there's a seam going right down the middle of the dash. So I took the seam out of the dash and I painted it black, and then I glued the window back in. And I just used, I think on the windshield I used the contact cement. I think the goop. Yeah, I think I glued this back on with goop. The back glass I glued in with epoxy, and this is why I did that. I used 5-minute epoxy, and what I did, I just took a piece of tape and I stuck it to the window, and I pulled, and it pulled the window back up into place. So I pushed it back down, mixed up a tiny bit of 5-minute epoxy and put it on the bottom edge of the window, the very bottom. And then I pulled the window up into place, and I held it up until the 5-minute epoxy cured. Okay, now the window's in place, but I'm not really satisfied that it's in place good enough. There's a channel between the window and the foam around the whole back window. It's a slight little, almost like a water channel. So what I did was I mixed up another batch of 5-minute epoxy on a toothpick, and I wicked it right into that. You just lay it down right on that edge with the toothpick, and it just rolled perfectly down into that gutter, that channel. And I 5-minute epoxied it all the way around, and it worked out so perfect I didn't even have to wipe anything off the window or the foam. You know, the epoxy just rolled right down in and left nothing behind. It was perfect. So the back window's not going to fall out for sure, not epoxied in, and the front window I gooped it on good, so I don't think it's going to come out again either. So I'm good. And again, minor little stuff, not a big deal. The only other thing I did, the wheels were pretty crappy on it. They're foam, foam wheels. Don't like foam wheels, but one of them was wobbling like this and like this. So when I rolled it across the floor, the plane was doing, like the old duck pull toy as a kid, I couldn't handle that. So I ended up, it was one of the mains, so I took the nose wheel off and I put it on the main, and I put a new nose wheel on the plane, and I used a rubber, not the foam. It's a hard rubber, not hard rubber, but it's a rubber, not foam rubber. The only thing I have against the foam rubber, because I'm flying out of a field that's full of sand spurs, is every time I bring the plane in, there's sand spurs stuck in the wheel, in the foam. And I got to pull them all out, and then I got to take tweezers and pull all the broke off prongs that are stuck in the foam out, and it's kind of a pain, but not a big deal. Just, But anyway, so that's it. Just, I replaced the wheel and had to re-glue the windows, and that was it. Couple of things about the build. The instructions tell you to glue the vertical fin to the horizontal stabilizer first and then put it in the airplane. Do not do that. It's a bad idea, because those two don't have alignment at all. And if you don't get it exactly straight and exactly in the right place, when you go to put it in the airplane, it's not going to fit right. And you're either going to have a gap here where the taper of the vertical fin goes into the fuselage. You're either going to end up with a gap here, or it's going to get into that tight, and then this isn't going to sit down where it's supposed to, because it's not aligned. So don't do it that way. Put the horizontal stab, glue it in first, and I do it in stages. I use 5-minute epoxy. I glued the horizontal in first. I had the wing on, so I could use the wing as a reference, make sure it was parallel to the wing and level. It can't be crooked. It's the way it fits in there. It's got to be straight, but I wanted to make sure it was parallel. So any last minute of adjustment, let the glue tack up and dry. 5 minutes. It's 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You can handle it. And then I put the vertical one in, because the vertical one, you want to slide it up under the decal into the wedge, and it'll slide right up under the decal, up tight into there, and then you set it back down into the pocket in the back, and it just lines up beautifully when you do it that way. And if you glued the stab onto it first, if you don't have that exactly right, you're going to have an issue. So I don't recommend, to do them separately. You'll be much happier. It's going to go together much easier. Now, because the strobe here, there's a wire going through the tail. There's a little cutout in the back of the plane here. It's a little square hole. It's not big enough. Once you fish the wire out and plug the other wire into it, it's too long to make the bend to get it down into the fuselage. You try to shove it down in there, and it hits the floor of the fuselage, and you can't. So take your hobby knife and oblong that hole, make it rectangular shape, and rectangular shape, parallel to the fuselage, so that you don't, it'll all be hidden under the fin when you put it in. So don't go widthwise, go lengthwise down the fuselage and just elongate the hole. Test fit it a couple times first before you even think about mixing any glue up. Make sure you can get that plug down in there easily. And then when you go to glue it on, you can plug it in and it'll tuck, especially if you're using 5-minute epoxy, you don't have time to screw around. You could tuck it down in the hole and set the fin in place and glue it down, and everything will be fine. So those are the only two real issues there. Not a big deal. Just, take your hobby knife and make the hole a little bigger and you'll be fine. The wing went on tight. There's plastic dowel pins, and it's got a plastic receiver in the windshield post here that you have to push it down into, and I really had to push it down into that. It was a fight. So you're going to have to be very careful that you don't crush your foam, leave fingerprints into the foam. You got to use palm of your hand and push, but you got to push it in there pretty hard. It didn't go in easily. It was a little bit of a struggle, but I finally got it in. Then it sits down, and there's a ledge in the back here that it sits down on, and you put the two wing bolts in. There's two screws here, hard plastic mounts that the screws go through. No problem. Once you get it into the post, it'll be fine. It's got single point wing plugs. There's a circuit board on each half of the wing. Everything, you've got your landing light, your wingtip nav light, aileron, and a flap wire all coming into this circuit board that's mounted to the inside of the wing, inside the cabin. And there's one wire coming up with a plug on it, and when you go to put the wing on, you just plug that plug onto the circuit board. It's that simple. They've really come a long way with this. Used to have to shove all these wires down through a tube, and it was a pain in the butt. This is beautiful. They really did a nice job with that. The new single point wing connector now is beautiful, especially if you have to take this wing off to transport it, because now it's two screws on the wing, two screws on the wing struts, either at the top or the bottom. Either one, doesn't matter, whichever one you want to do, and then you lift it up and unplug the two plugs and it's off. So simple, easy remove to take, to the field if you need to take the wing off. So that's great. The cowl is beautifully done. It's got magnets on it. It's not screwed on. It's just magneted on, and it stays on and lines up beautifully. The decals line up perfect. I'm very happy. I'm really, really happy with the quality of this model. It's really, really good. It flies great. It looks great. That's about it. That was the only issues. I didn't have any other issues. Of course, once I got the, I put my own receiver in the plane anyway. I wasn't planning on using the radio that came with it, but I have plans for this radio, so I didn't want to use the radio. I have plans for the radio, and it needed to be a new radio, so that's why I bought that. And but it didn't stop me from flying it because I was putting my own radio gear in it anyway. And it flies amazing. Just a beautiful flying airplane, beautiful looking airplane, a lot of fun to fly. And it will fly in high wind, but you'll have to deal with it. It's not, the wind's going to throw it around. It doesn't weigh anything. I mean, this thing is sitting here with the battery in it. I don't think it weighs. It's less than 3 pounds. I'm sure it's less than 3 pounds. So it just doesn't have any penetration power with being that light. The wind's going to toss it around, but you could fly it. It'll still fly in the wind. but it's better on calm days. Dusk, I love flying it at dusk with the lights on it. It's beautiful. It's just, this landing light's bright, so you make your turn coming at you, and that light hits you in the face, and and you can definitely see the wingtip lights and this beacon, and as long as you can still see the airplane, the lights just look beautiful at night. So it's a great night flyer, not dark night flying, but dusk, getting dark, where you can still see, you can still make out the airplane. The nav lights help you distinguish where it is, and you can actually fly it well past sundown and enjoy the lights. It's really cool. So I enjoy that. That was one of the reasons I bought it. I love the lights. Anything else? I don't think there's anything else, guys. That's pretty much it. Okay, well, that's the end of my review. Great airplane, guys. If you were thinking about buying it, it'll work as a trainer. If you want to learn to fly on it, don't try to do it alone. Get somebody to help you with a training switch or whatever. But yeah, you could definitely learn to fly on it. And if you just want a nice, beautiful looking airplane to go out and fly, it'll do that too. It's a lot of fun to fly. Like I said, it'll fly inverted. It does everything, rolls, loops, everything. It's got plenty of power, so it'll go vertical. And it's a lot of fun to fly. So don't let the name trainer scare you off. It's not a jet, but it's a great flying airplane. It's not a jet, but it's a good flying airplane, and it's a beautiful airplane. So it's trust me, it's not beneath anybody. If you bought this plane, you'd enjoy flying it. It'll quickly become one of your go-to planes when you want to just go out, relax, and fly a nice looking airplane around, because it's so scale looking. It just, for me, a scale looking airplane just is enjoyable to watch fly, whether I'm flying it or whether somebody else is flying it. I love scale looking airplanes. It doesn't have to be military or not, or civilian. It doesn't matter. Just when it looks like a real airplane, I love watching it fly. It just, especially with lights on it and stuff, that makes it even more real. So that's where I enjoy the hobby the most. These stick airplanes and stuff are just not me. I don't buy that kind of stuff. I know they fly good, but they don't look good, and I just don't enjoy that. So that's why I bought this. Not because I needed a trainer, but because it's a Cessna 182. It's a beautiful Cessna 182. That's why I bought it. And I got to tell you, it's great quality, and it flies great. So, think about it. I'm pretty happy with Banana so far. Like I said, they did the best of everybody I dealt with so far. So I wouldn't be afraid to use Banana again. Give them another try. If you had a bad experience with them, if it's been a while, you may want to give them a try. I'm definitely gonna, probably next Black Friday, I'll be looking at them for another plane, because they had some great deals. I mean, some really great deals. They did last year too. So, anyway, comments at the bottom. Like me here on YouTube. Like me on Facebook, and we'll catch you on the next review. Talk to you later. Bye bye.